my family, my brothers, my mother. I learning English since um, 3 years, 3 years. But in the past, I'm not practice conversation. Now I practice conversation more, very more. And for my area, English is very, very important because there's some project I need the conversation because of the project in the technology area. I like this English. I'm learning English during the week. Grammar, conversation. Conversation for me is very, very, very important in the for the business, conversation the other people, the other country. When we travel the other country, for me is very, very important learning English. In this case, I go to the shop mall, read some books, and I'm stay in home too. And I'm not the locals. Uh, when there are a lot of people, many people in the how can I say the local very smart. I don't like, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't like crowd. Locals too. Oh gosh, I
Me
hate.
too.
To be honest, I like when you go to shows, you see a person, festivals, it's okay. But when you have a bar with a lot of persons, no, no. I feel
Oh,
tired.
in Rio de Janeiro, there are some events that's a lot of people, but I I I never go to the locals because it's very, very crowded. Uh, for example, three 300 people in the local. It's very, very crowded, and I don't like. I live in Itaguaí, Rio de
Gosh.
Janeiro, next to Angra. Do you know Angra dos Reis?
I know Angra because I see a lot of persons go to Angra, but I never go to your city. I don't know.
Ah, okay, okay. My city is 30 minutes to Angra, and there are some events in the city. It's very crowded in the part of the year, and very, very, very. There are some people, the other localizations. It's a big events in my city.
Other
Uh,
countries too, or not?
Sorry?
Other countries too, or not? Countries.
Mm, no, no. Some people, but
Okay.
there are people the other cities next to Itaguaí, but the other country. No, 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 no. I don't know. Uh, os cantores are Brazilian, but the people it's next to the Itaguaí.
Mm, that's awesome. That's awesome for the person who work with tourists. I guess the person feel really excited with that because Rio is every month a tourist place. I
Yes.
imagine. But here in Belo Horizonte have more tourists in this time, in the end of the year, in the middle, in the beginning too, because we have a lot of bars and a lot of historic places like Ouro Preto, and you see a lot of foreign persons from England, and you feel like, oh, you come to here, don't have beach. Why you go to here to see rocks?
Ouro
Different.
Preto is beautiful. I have one friends and that's living in not Ouro Preto, but in Minas Gerais. I think is Belo Horizonte. I think
Belo Horizonte?
her family is living in Minas Gerais, but Ouro Preto is very, very, very beautiful, the city. I like it.
I love historic places. Here in Minas, we don't have beach, but we have a lot of bars, a lot, and we have rivers too. So I
Oh,
imagine it's a little bit different because, like in the middle of the forest, you have a cachoeira. And
mhm.
it, for a French person, I imagine it's something like what? Like, I'm crossing a little forest and I'm here swimming, like it's a little bit different, I imagine.
In Rio
You
de
know,
Janeiro, there are a lot of cachoeiras in Rio de Janeiro.
yeah.
In my city, there are one, I think five cachoeiras. There are very cachoeiras in Itaguaí City and center Rio de Janeiro. It's very, very cachoeiras.
I even imagine about the downtown of the Rio. I didn't imagine, but yeah, it's really, really different. I never go to the capital of Rio. I always, when I go to the Rio, I go to Cabo Frio or
Oh,
near to Cabo Frio because I don't know, I never go to the capital of Rio, in the Rio capital. Like, I don't know why. I imagine it's a little different, right? Like have a different view. Everyone who I'm talking, the view of the center of Rio, it's beautiful. It's totally different. And I want to go to see the crystal too, because of course it's beautiful.
yeah, it's
But
very, very beautiful.
yeah, but I even imagine about the rivers and cachoeiras.
Do
Gosh,
you know Barra da Tijuca in Rio de Janeiro?
I know I
E,
never go, but I know.
I come back.
in Barra da Tijuca, there are some, how can I say? There are two cachoeiras next to, in the proximity the Barra da Tijuca. Two cachoeiras.
Different one, because everyone talking about Rio about the beach. We never talking about the rivers and so on. Different.
In Pedra da Gávea, do you know? Is there are one?
No.
I think there are ones. There are one cachoeiras in next to Pedra da Gávea.
I know this local because of the TikTok. A person doing the river, a TikTok, and the river is beautiful, so big, and I feel like, oh gosh, I even imagine here is so big. Like I have a lot of things.
Very big.
Gosh, but yeah, I think it's so beautiful. Ricardo, you
Yeah,
here?
yeah, I come back.
Okay. Hello again. And me and Mateus talking about rivers, but not the topic again. Oh, Mateus, if you don't know, I always put a topic, but 90% of the time I don't follow the topic. So don't stay so together off the topic, okay? Sometimes I don't follow.
Perfect, Ricardo.
Yeah, I prefer to talk about different things. But Ricardo, you come back, so I have a question for you. Question number 2, okay? What impact does rising global temperatures have on sea levels, and how does it affect coastal communities? Gosh, it's
Uh,
difficult.
yeah, it's a hard off topic, because nowadays it's hard to have an opinion, and sometimes you receive a lot of pressure to choose one of the both sides. But really, I don't know much information about this topic. Yeah, I receive a lot of information, but I don't have, I'm not able to decide some things, some technical or scientific things. Particularly because there are some people against and the pro. So, for example, I watched some interviews from Ricardo Felício. Is okay, it's a little radical sometimes, and the other situations he became so, how do you say, a little radical. He tried to got election, I don't know, to deputate and
Yeah.
some things, but he have a postdoc in climate and something meteorological or something, I don't know. And he and another people, important and scientists, is con the interference. They told that's not possible for humans interfere on climate, on climate, I don't know, climate, to change, as a lot of people say. So sometimes it's hard to understand some situations. For example, El Nino is a phenomenal climate phenomenon, change the temperature all the world, because the water, the Pacific water, became hotter. So the Pacific Ocean is 1/4 from our world. So sometimes I have some difficulty to understand. I believe that is,
Yeah.
it's possible to human have some influence, but I can't choose the one of the sides, because, as I told you, I'm not able to decide some things like that.
Yeah, like I feel the same. I feel a little bit confused sometimes. I know about
Yeah,
El Nino and have La Nina too, I guess.
exactly.
La Nina, I don't remember if
La
that
Niña.
La Nina, yeah. And I think it's like it's a little bit complicated. When I started search about it, I feel like, what? What's going on? This happened, but we suffer this impact right now in Brazil, and other countries suffer too. Because, gosh, I don't know if you feel that, guys, but and hotness, and don't have, and it's a global temperature is rising. I don't have a lot of information. I know about foil foils and this kind of things impact, the footprint. We have the footprint every day in the earth. And I think some things is about the earth try to be a stabilization. But yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of confusions about always when I open the news and I see El Nino. I spend one minute to think like El Nino, El Nino. Okay, El Nino. I get it, because it's a lot of names and difficult situations to understand. And I remember about the La Nina, in my high school, the teachers talking about it. But gosh, it's so complicated. They have a lot of terms, specific terms, If you
Yeah.
don't search a lot, you don't understand why you pass this rising of global temperature, and the sea levels are rising too, and in some locals, like I guess is in the north or the south, don't remember where, but geleiras, it's it start to it's frozen, this is unbelievable. Have some things we happen during this year we didn't imagine, but have a lot of things I don't understand very well. I need to search more, but I have a lot of terms, so I feel confused sometimes. And you,
Yeah.
Mateus, what do you think?
Perfect, Gabi. I agree with you and the Ricardo. The impacts the temperatures. How can I say? They are very damaged in the sea levels in the coast communities because the sea levels. How can I say? Pode ocasionar, né, algumas eventualidades próximas da cidade dessas comunidades, como ali o aumento ali de tsunamis. I think is very dangerous for the people living next to the sea levels. Well, in my city, for example, there are I live in next to the sea levels, the sea, but it's not proximity, but is next. And if it's global temperatures, how can I say? It's more temperatures. There are it's probably the communities local affect because the tsunamis, ondas muito grandes. I think that's it. It's very dangerous for the people living next to the seals.
Yeah, the waves have a lot of persons who talking about California in United States have a lot of big waves. Always have waves in California, but the waves are more bigger than years ago. So it's something we need to think because have a city. I don't remember the name of the city in Brazil, who the sea comes to the city. So the sea is invade. I forgot the name. Comes to the city and have a lot of houses and apartments. Who the persons need to get out because the sea, it's come. I don't remember the name of the city, but I guess it's not so popular nowadays because of the sea. The persons have afraid to go, but have that, and it's so different. Have a lot of beats around the world who even exist anymore because it's like don't have any more places to stay because the seas come and the persons need to go. So about the tsunami here in Brazil, we know tsunami is not something we really work, but I have afraid about the persons who live in Japan, for example. Japan, it
Very
works
dangerous.
everything in Japan. Everything who is bad works in Japan. So I imagine about if the sea rising, probably have more tsunami. Tahiti, I guess, too. Thailand, too. So Aichi, too. It's unbelievable. And then this question makes sense. What are the social and economic consequences of climate change particularly for vulnerable populations. So when I think about Japan, the persons in Japan, it's growing fast, the things, the builds, everything. But if I imagine about IT, for example, we have in 2080 or 2007, don't remember the exact year, a tsunami. In 2023, a lot of locals are devastated since 2008. It's a long time to growing, and because of the bigger tsunami of IT, some persons since nowadays don't have house. So it's a social and economical problem, and it's a consequence, So I
It's
think about
terrible.
it too. It's terrible, right? It's terrible. If I compare two places who have the same problem with climate change, talking about tsunami, for example, but it's a climate change too. And this too is not a balance, it's not right. So if I put here some images about IT nowadays, it's the same as when the tsunami comes. So, it's unbelievable to think. And what do you think, Ricardo, about it? Is the question number 3. Three.
Yeah, there are certainly shows social and economic impact, because sometimes, for example, when the Earth is hotter, it's better because the Earth produce more food. It's easier, but when the Earth became colder, it's not so good. But I think this thing is natural condition, not, for example, pollution or something that causes this kind of increase on temperature. But yeah, for example, there are some areas, and for example, not about salt water, for example, beach or this kind of place. If the water advance into houses or buildings, certainly is a huge problem. But normally, this kind of population that live near from beach is richer. But for example, when these things happen in rivers or in other situations, normally this kind of person is poor. So in this case, it cause a lot of problems. And the opposite is terrible too. For example, a river became dry. A lot of people normally use this river to how do you say, se alimentar? I forgot.
To feed.
Okay, what?
To feed.
Refeed, yeah, refeed. And so I believe that the balance is the best way to live. Try to control, independent of it is this the mankind became or moved this condition, the natural condition. For example, sometimes I forgot some words. If mankind cause problems for environment, it's not good. Independence if the climate will change or not. So in this case, I believe that is have pay attention in this. We have to pay attention in these things to avoid some things like that, and try to balance, because sometimes someone wanted to build a company, a big company in some areas, and there are two sides. One of them is this company bring a lot of opportunities, jobs, and the other things. So in this case, necessary to conciliate these things. Try to not destroy the environment, but try to get some important things to the people, because if you don't, for example, a lot of people living in some places, it's preserved areas, the nature or something, and this person is poor, are poor, and the only option is move to the place, this kind of place. So in this case, if the population don't have opportunities, cause a lot of problems. Some a little different, but cause. So in this case, it's necessary pay attention to conciliate. That's it.
Exactly. I agree. Like, we need to have work. And I give an example here, like, for example, the Vale do Rio Doce. Have a lot here in Espírito Santo, Minas, and have other locals too. So have a lot of jobs here in Vale. However, we lost a river. We lost 2 cities. So this is the pricing. I don't know, but we have a price about it, and it's a human disaster. It's a climate change because a person who put the hands in something. But for example, on the other hand, if didn't exist the Valley, a lot of cities in Minas even have a job, because some cities here in Minas, it's like the whole population works in the mineration and this kind of companies. So, it's a faca de dois gumes. That, like, we lost a lot. We lost since now we don't have the one biggest rivers of Brazil. It's sad, but sometimes we think about the population and the consequence of climate change. Sometimes it's not because you wanna. It's because we need to have money. Unfortunately, is the capitalism. We need to have money to grow kids, to put food in the table. So a part of us who work, for example, in Vale, even thinking about the climate change, because you don't think about it. It's the reality. If you work in these companies, you don't pass it a lot of time of your life thinking about it, because you need to work. So put some priorities. I know it's really, really, really sad to say that, but it's true. It's the reality. We need to work with the reality. So have Petrobras too and other companies who work with climate change every day. And these companies didn't finish tomorrow. Like, we need to work with the reality. This is the reality. We have the climate change. It's hot and hot and hot, and someday it's really cold. But be really honest. We have a footprint nowadays is so big, and we can't deal anymore with that. We only have consequence because we don't have to do a lot of things. Have a lot of search scientists who say it. Oh, in the ONU, I guess in this year, say about it. The climate change ONU, something like that. I don't remember the exact name. A lot of persons go, a lot of countries go, but we can't. We have like 10 years ago, we have 10 years to solve that. We don't solve. We can't solve in 1 year. You know, like, is this reality? And it's bad to say that in a YouTube channel, but this is a reality. You know, unfortunately, we can do a lot of things. However, we suffer the consequence of the things we do, the cause and consequence. So, and you, Mateus, what do you think?
Perfect, Gabi. I agree with you. I see the people suffer a lot from this distance, a lot because they don't have so many resources for resolve this problem or the to go the other locals. For example, do you speak about the Vale do Rio Doce? In my city, there are the Vale do Rio Doce, and it's 1 hour of my city, 1 hour in the é uma ilha, né? Ficou numa ilha. But I don't remember the accidents in proximity, but it's one risk for the people, the communities, that live in the next local, the Vale do Rio Doce. It's a big company, but it's one risk. Do you know the people there are one, how can I say? Ficam à mercê, né, caso aconteça algum acidente, de estar próximo e não ter para onde ir, né? Por não terem tantos recursos. Então, I think the government that's create one program for the people when the people live in the locals where there are damage for their life. I think that's it. Por exemplo, em Vale do Rio Doce, em Minas Gerais, Mariana, in the 5 years ago, I don't remember, 5, 6 years ago, many people died in the local. Many people, many. I think 300 people, you know, I think. And the living damage. What's the most important? The living the people or the money, the big companies? The relationships with when I see, it's very how can I say, não é similar, né? Porque as pessoas, the big company more very money, and the people living it's next to the local, where the damage don't have many resources. I think that's it. The government I think that create the programs or conscientization the big company for the situation.
Yeah, it's really difficult to deal with that because we have 7 years of Mariana disaster. here in Minas. Vale is already in the city. Nothing changed, you know. If you think like a company, you're thinking about numbers. If you're thinking about like a human, you're thinking about persons. But always a company thinking about numbers. It's that. And have Mariana, have Brumadinho too, and have other here who really have other disaster, really, really closer to have other, because the barragens are broken. And it's a human disaster because having engineers to deal with that, have persons capable to deal with that, so can deal. So it's a human problem. And it's complicated to talking about it because one disaster is from Valley, other disasters from other company, but it's the same thing we do. And we need that. We need that because, be honest, we use that. We use. It's like talking about renewable energy source like solar and windy. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful to see it. But to put a solar, someday I search to put a solar energy here in my home. It's it's priced a lot. It's so costly. So pricey, sorry. It's so pricey. I don't have money to avoid it. So how can I use renewable energy if I don't have money? You know, here in Brazil, we use solar and wind power. We have a lot of, I guess, I don't remember the local, but it's in Nordeste. We have a lot of windy energy, but it's not common. It's not common. It's not like nuclear source. In Brazil, we don't have a nuclear source. Thanks of God, but we don't have. So we need to deal with the things we can deal. It's really sad to say it, but like here in my home, we do a lot of reciclaging and this kind of thing. We use a lot of that, but we have a bigger population who even thinking about renewable energy and this kind of things. Because sometimes we can't search, the person can teach that, you know. So it's something more deeper than only, oh, we need to change, but we need to change with education. You know, you need to educate your population to don't take trash at outside of your home, for example. You know, don't take glasses in the sea or in the river. I don't have beach here, but I know a lot of persons who have, you know, when the person drink a beer and like the trash is the beach, so go to the sea. It's crazy, you know. It's crazy. It's lack of education, and it's not education of school. It's lack of the education like the person. It's unbelievable some things I heard here in Belo Horizonte, and I see it in the street. So it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Like, we can avoid it. Only we need to do that. But how? With education. We need to teach the persons, adult persons, for example, who can't live in a society. And we need to teach because the person don't think about it. Even think. So, Ricardo, what do you think about the discussion?
Certainly, it's possible for what's mean if the climate change certainly influence a lot in food production and the agricultural practices. I believe that the both are directly connected. So if you have good conditions, certainly you produce more. It's just possible to notice when you, for example, compare Minas Gerais or São Paulo with Northwest and on semi-árido Northwest. So it's certainly is possible to produce more because it's possible to use technology, something to bring water for this place. It's possible to, for example, I watch a news or interview, a news about some places on desert on Asia and Africa too, and these people cultivate a lot of different things, including, for example, lettuce, because some people said that is hard to cultivate lettuce because need a lot of water. So it's possible. I believe that certainly is more expensive, but it's possible. So it's much better. Essentially, Brazil is possible to have a wonderful climate conditions to produce food. So in this case, it's possible to look on the news and notice Brazil is one of the biggest food producers of the world. We are the champion in a lot of cultures, corn. I'm not sure. I believe that's corn,
Soja,
soja too.
café.
Yeah. If you
mas
Brazil don't be the first one, is one of the top 3 probably in a lot of different cultures. So yeah, I needed to pay attention because a lot of scientists using to say that it's possible for humans change the environment. So it's worse for Brazil because essentially our riquezas, I forgot. Our I believe that's one of the most or the most commercial activity in Brazil is food producers. So it's a huge problem. That's it.
Yeah, really huge. I search about it on YouTube channel, have a lot of things about food and the persons who import and export that I like to see. Brazil, if you don't know, guys, China, the like 80% of the chicken in China is from Brazil. 80%. It's like it's so big because we in China don't have a lot of local to produce the chickens, and here in Brazil we have like a long term about how to feed, how to treat, have a vaccination because we have gripe aviária, yeah, aviaria flu, I guess that, but we import a lot, export a lot. So when I discovered that, I feel like, gosh, it's unbelievable, 80%. 80% it's pretty big. of the exportation and importation of food. So I guess in Brazil we have a lot of places to grow, and if you want to grow everything in Brazil, you can grow because we have a really good terra. Don't know how to say that, but yes. And we have a lot of climates too. Like here in Sudest, the climate right now, the temperature, it's so hot. But for example, in the south, it's not so hot. So in the north, nordest, and central, we have a lot of difference. So it's really interesting, this kind of thing. And you, Mateus, what do you think about the discussion?
What the question, Gabby?
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. Oh, the questions, I guess we're talking about their question. I don't remember, but we're talking about the
The climate in general.
the climate change, but we're talking about the food. Like, okay. Like how you feel when the climate change affect the food and the water, this kind of thing like that. Okay, how does climate change influence global food security and agriculture practices? The four.
Perfect. It's a one problem for the people when the people living the agricultural practices. For example, in my city, it's interior from Rio de Janeiro. And many people living, eating the agricultural practice. And when have problems, the climate change in the local, in the Brazil in general, the people, there are one problem because don't have the other option for the living, for the eating. Many people live in the agriculture in Brazil, for example. In the interior of the Brazil, there are some places that the people live in the practice, agricultural practice. And it's one problem because and it's important discussing, discutir, né, about these topics because it's one problem global. There are other countries that many problems with this because it don't have other how can I say, other form for the resolve this question. I think is the climate in general. It's one topic important for discutir com outros países e ver formas de diminuir, né, the consequence of climate change. I think that is.
It's hard when we think about like climate change here in Brazil because we have a lot of climates during the week, during the year, and during the week. We have a lot of that. We have the balance here in Brazil about the hotness, the cold, and have some locals in Brazil who even exist the cold weather. So it's complicated to see that because we feel hotness here, but we like, okay, acclimated. We used to feel like that in this time of the year. It's like February. February is a hotness. Like, gosh, it's summer. So summer in Brazil, it's unbelievable. But when I thinking about Hawaii, some months ago, I guess 1 month ago, Hawaii have fired, and the persons jump in the beach because have afraid to die, because the level of the temperature, it's so high, and some locals start to burn. I don't know if you Mateus and Ricardo see it in the news, but for me it's horrible. Like, gosh, it's so hotness, then have fire. Have some florists here in Brazil who start that too, in the Caatinga. I guess Caatinga have that every year. I don't remember if it's Caatinga, but anyway, have a specific place in Brazil who always have that. But it's something normal. It's geographicamente, it's okay. The plants do that to grow, to have a lot of things. But Hawaii, for example, I feel really, really puzzled. Have persons who get out of home because at home the things start to burn, to fire. So it's, gosh, it's something I really feel afraid when I see it. I don't know if 1 month ago or 2 months ago, but it was in Hawaii, and was unbelievable. Gosh. And I don't know how the population are today, but have a lot of persons who died. Like, old persons suffer a lot. I guess senior persons suffer a lot with that. I'm suffer a lot, and I'm not senior with hotness. So imagine high temperature, more higher than ever seen. It's complicated, really complicated. But guys, the time. Look at right now the clock, and I feel like, oh, 2 minutes. What's happened here? We talk a lot. Uh, today was the meeting of 3 persons who talk a lot, and what's so nice. I like this. And how you feel,
Yeah.
Ricardo, about the meeting?
Please don't be how do you say, nervous? Not nervous, upset. Don't be
No.
upset.
I'm not.
I know that's a really, really important topic, but sometimes it's a little boring for me talk about this kind of topic. For example,
Imagine.
yesterday I participated in meeting, the immersion about working meetings. That's okay. The purpose is learning English, but it's a little boring for me. So, but for example, something about how do you say, self-esteem. It's a particular. It's my business, my problem. For example, this kind of things about coach or about self-esteem, or not exactly self-esteem. When you have to talk about fala, not, I forgot, vai falar em português.
Self-confidence.
Essas coisas de motivacional, essas coisas assim, para mim, problema meu, né? Não tem ninguém tem nada a ver com isso, né? O propósito é esse, mas se torna um pouco chato, assim, né? Mas
não, tudo bem.
Foi
não,
tudo
não
perfeito.
Não.
Não, ficou tudo perfeito, assim, né? Do ponto de vista técnico, do ponto de vista. Isso é uma questão particular, né? Que eu acho um pouco chato esse tema. Acho importante, não discuto, né? Isso aí realmente é muito importante, mas eu acho um pouco chato, assim. É porque para mim.
Não, mas tá tudo bem.
Para mim é um pouco desgastante estudar, né?
Assim.
Inglês e tal, assim, né? Então, às vezes quando tem um tema que eu não vejo nenhum, eu entro direto na imersão, nem olho, porque se eu olhar, às vezes eu posso até não querer participar, então eu já vou direto, né? Nem sei da minha cabeça com isso aí, que o propósito é aprender inglês. Né?
esquenta com isso não. Tipo assim, eu acho que cada um tem seu jeitinho e tá tudo certo. É importante que você ficou. Você participou, né? Não curtindo tanto, mas não, eu faço imersões pra ficar aí, entendeu?
Sim, sim,
Não precisa ir triste com isso, não. Fica tranquilo. Não leva pro coração mesmo.
sim.
Você já sabe que nossa, é difícil levar algum trem para coração. And you, Matheus, how do you feel?
I like this conversation, Gabi, because it's one topic that how can I say, for discussing, for me, it's very good because there's some vocabularies in English is for practice is interesting. And this topic is a good exercise for this because the any vocabularies I see this when I read the questions. I see this the any vocabularies about the climate change.
Ah,
And
graças.
where one the vocabulary that I'm never talk to the other people. For example, the climate change. I'm
You
never
imagine.
talk to other people in English the climate change.
Yeah, me either. I don't talk about a lot about that. It's good. But thank you, Matheus. I hope you come more, okay? It's your first time with me. I hope you like it. And Ricardo too, okay? Come more often. And guys, see you all in the next week. Sorry, Endo, again, to still 3 minutes of your version. Sorry. But thank you guys. Have a nice day.